Hello everyone, welcome back again to Spiritual Growth Tarot and Astrology, and this is devoted to your astrological transits for the week of April 30th through to May 6th, and it includes the partial lunar eclipse on the 5th coming in at 14 degrees Scorpio. So anyway, I'll do a separate video just for that. Yeah. Taking you through the houses, but we'll cover it here too. So anyway, let me swap out cameras here and I'll be right back. Okay, so first off, I have to say that I forgot that Pluto goes retrograde. Actually Monday. So this T-square up here, of course, is lasting through, I think it's December 7th, pretty sure. Yeah. I'm sure it is December 7th. So basically just I've been talking about it for so long every week, but just to try and concisely say it has to do with, for each one of us, no matter who we are, it has to do with how we handle our issues of power and control. Can we control ourselves? We have issues coming from the past that may have us either stepping into controlling ourselves or removing ourselves out of situations where we've been manipulated and controlled. And so with the nodes, in this T-square, it has been trying to get us on our path, basically. And now, besides just the two, the north and south and north node, I should say, when I'm pointing here, we also have, you can see we have 3 squares coming off of Pluto. So what is in the mix is Eris has been there. So again, this, to reiterate, this goes back to the courage to stand up for what we want to receive in our lives. Eris to me is the feminine counterpart of Mars and Pluto. I see Mars and Pluto as being very interrelated because Mars is our motivations and the directions that we'll go in. And the reason for that is because it's what we want. And then Pluto will be in our charts, in our natal charts, where we will put the most energy into getting what we want, right? And where we may have issues with control, other people trying to control. So, but it's also, when you get deep down inside of Pluto, it always brings something up. It bubbles up into the light, and it will help us clear out and eliminate whatever isn't working, and it cleans. It has the ability to purify our souls. So that's why I see Pluto as like the journey of the soul. Now, I also always give a lot of credence to the moon because I feel like the moon is our ego filter. And so what I've drawn in here, it has to do with the forces that are in motion for quite some time. So like I said, the Pluto squaring the nodes happens through December 7th. Eris and Jupiter in the north node, they're involved for quite some time too. So with Eris, because Pluto's going to go retrograde, tomorrow, so back this way, and Eris just doesn't move much at all. It takes about twice as long to get around as Pluto does. So the important thing there is just to focus in on what currently is operating in your life where you feel like you have control over yourself and that you're on the right, you're on your path, you're going in the right direction. And if you're not, Pluto, because it moves so slowly, it gives us all this time to, to get things going or change course if needed. So not to worry about it, but just to, use, that's what I love about the transits. It's like we can use the energy to allow the universe to support us. Or with Pluto transits, we're going in a certain direction anyway. Like somewhere Pluto is in your natal chart, and that is operating in one of those houses, which is, each one of the houses is an area of your life, and it's transforming that area of your life, and it's bringing the real you through in that area of your life so that you have control over yourself. And we just always have to remember, life is for us. Life is always there to bring in more life. And because I believe that life is full of love, I forgot to bring in that little sextile there. That life is, its original form is love, then there's nothing to worry about. Just keep going for the love. So all week long, this is the tension buildup of the lunar solar eclipse, lunar full moon. Not really full moon, it's a partial eclipse, but it is a full moon. And that's going to be happening at 14 degrees Scorpio. So you can see that all week long, the moon, so we're starting off with the moon in Virgo, and all week long, it's going to take all this time to go through Virgo, Libra, get on the other side of the North Node, and literally oppose the sun. Now, the sun needs to get to 14 degrees before there's that opposition, and you can see that the Mercury and the sun are, hooking up some way. They're talking. And it's all about, what do you really want? It has to do with your personal finances, and then it has to do with, so this is the build-up tension for what is it that we have to let go of to get what we want. Because a full moon is always a release, right? If you do a little bit of research, you'll see that more babies and more horses and other animals, especially, mammals, are born during a full moon. And maybe other critters too. I don't know. I haven't gone that far. I've just, in my own personal life, because my sister used to raise horses. Well, she still has them, but she used to, breed them. Man, that's a sight. Anyway. Not her breeding, but she would have the brood mares and the stallions and those things, and people would bring them to stay at her place while while they got their brood mare pregnant. And then sure enough, they would usually foal by the full moon, those months later. I think it's about 11 months or a year for a horse. I can't remember. Anyway, boy, that was so long ago. So back to this tension buildup, we can ask ourselves all week long, what is it that we need to let go of? What do we need to release in order to get what we want? Right? Just like the mom or the mare or whatever, once that baby or that foal, we have to go through that process of giving birth. So I like to look at the full moon, whether it's an eclipse or not, as a rebirth every month. I like to look at the new moon as setting intentions for what we're trying to give birth to when, the next 2 weeks comes around, and then we have the full moon. So the moon can give us a little glimpse into life every single month, and at all the different stages as well. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, all of that. Gibbous, full moon, balsamic, all those different phases of the moon. So today, with the moon being at 6 degrees And you can see I set the chart at midnight, and the reason I did that is because I really wanted to give a voice, to the moon here opposing Saturn. And you can see that I couldn't go back any further. It would have taken us into Saturday, but you get these, readings that, the Friday before, so you'll be in this. This is what's coming up. So all weekend long, this is the moon opposing Saturn, giving us the details, giving us the glimpse into how we manifest with Saturn, coming from all possibilities with Saturn in Pisces, and what is it that we really want, and what are the details that we need to pay attention to, because these two forces are kind of mirroring each other. And if we can get inside those details and be willing to work for it, that's the thing we always have to remember, is that Virgo is of service. Virgo loves to work. Virgo isn't lazy. Now, Virgo might go into a little bit of anxiety every once in a while, but if we stop worrying and just focus on what we want and keep going towards that, that helps us to align with the creator that we are within, and it helps to align with the creative forces without. So, the as within, so without can come together in divine order. And so, early this morning, Sunday morning, well, by the time you wake up, or if you stay up late, you'll have, that opposition. So pay attention to dreams, of course, always, but especially this morning, because you may wake up with some piece of, oh, that's what it is, kind of information that comes through, and you'll want to write it down. Also, the moon this morning is in this aspect of the architect, but threefold, right? So there's an opportunity to bring in something from the past that you've been digging your heels down into, and standing in this place of, I know who I am in this place. We're not floundering around when it comes to Scorpio. Now, with the sextile to the moon, then we have these opportunities to bring in the details. And what, the divine order, again, like I was saying, what is it that we truly want? And then we have 3 times the powerful flow over, coming off of the moon. So the moon's at the, the bucket point here. And so we've got opportunity and literal, details, flow of details, and then coming down into our future with the North Node, and the sun to give life to whatever this is that we're really working with and wanting. And it could be that there's the public eye on some details as well. I mean, I've been looking at how this all of this energy is playing out in X45's chart, and it's not pretty. And it's, I think this is the downside of Pluto with people like that, is that the truth will always come out, and it's going to be somewhere in your, in your chart, and that area of your life. And for him, it's his work and service and 6th house of health. So, and then this Pluto square and the the eclipses are affecting not only his health, but his his participation with the courts of law. Let me just suffice to say that. So that's his future. Now, for us though, because we're doing our darndest to align with the light, and Pluto's here showing the way. And it is about fighting for humanity. It is about fighting for our brothers and sisters and standing together in solidarity with our brothers and sisters. And we can see what's happened in the past. We've got the forces of, greed and corruption that could be going on here. Fear with Saturn and Pisces, and then the public getting the details of like, yeah, we see it again. They just run on this platform of fear. They want to make us afraid of each other. But yeah, of course, there are, crazy people that want to own guns and walk around with open carry and, bring us, they're literally walking around in fear. So bringing those images, and it is literally transforming humanity. Our kids, these small kids are, and adult kids and adults, I should just say, I have been witnessing what it's like to be in school, and that until we get these laws changed and get these mass weapons of destructions out of crazy people's hands, it isn't safe. So, but we're headed towards safety with the North Node. We have been, even more so. It'll continue on to that very ripe degree of because the nodes go backwards to the ripe degree of Taurus, where it is all about self-preservation, and so that won't be until July before it changes into Aries, where the North Node will be in Aries at a late degree, that nth degree of Aries at 29 degrees Aries, and when that happens, well, you can see that Jupiter's at 26 degrees Aries, and what is going on there, right? There are these opportunities for healing, but things are blown up way out of control, way out of proportion, and people are not taking a breath before they say something, usually. People are flying off the handle a lot. So, there's that. But it can bring in more healing, especially when it comes to, because we've had Jupiter cross over Chiron, Eris, and it's moving towards the North Node while the North Node is moving towards Jupiter. Those two are coming together strongly soon. And when that happens, we're going to be guided in a way towards expansion, but we have to make decisions based on what is it that we want to expand in our lives. So for us, it's probably peace, it's probably health, it's probably all the good things that life has to offer. It can help us invest in new ways, whatever we give our energy to and whatever attitudes we grab a hold of and go for, and we can have attitude changes constantly every day. So life can be healing. Life will always try and bring you back towards love, because that's who you are deep down inside. We're all these just little balls of love, but I do believe we're each very, very unique. And that even when we go back to the spirit world, we don't lose that uniqueness. It's what makes, the whole cosmos, it's what makes it whole. So yeah, okay. And, there's a lot to be said for our light penetrating the void, penetrating the cosmos. And the cosmos being this receptive, this is where the divine masculine and feminine go, where if there's penetration of light with love, with the intention of love, and then there's this receptive urge to nurture combined with that light and love, well, damn, right? Damn, you've got it all. So if we can just keep focused on that in our lives, as we're, I know it's hard to be human. It's not easy to go, just even get to the dentist and get things done. The amount of work it takes to get through the day and feed your kids and pay the bills and the things that you have to do in order to survive is not easy. Those things are not easy. But we can flip that survival script into thriving if we go towards what is more peaceful and do our best to let go of the rest so that it doesn't control us. And that's what I see mostly on the table for the full moon lunar eclipse coming up. What struggles can we let go of, and may our only struggles be to keep our heart open? And like how we say, how do we love ourselves through it, or set the intention to love ourselves through it? So anyway, for the entire week, well, actually even beyond that, let's see. So Jupiter here is in this opposition to the South Node all the way through June 22nd. I have little notes down here that, hold on, I'll show you. I have my little scribbles down there. So I have my little dates that maybe will make these weeklies go a little bit faster, although it's a lot more prep time for me. But anyway, so Jupiter opposing the South Node will bring in the opportunity to have a breakthrough from the past. Jupiter in Aries wants to go. It's, just think of Mars. It's like combining Mars and Jupiter together because Mars rules Aries. So, where do you want to go? And trust your instincts also, especially with that late degree, or sometimes even a 0 degree of Aries. There are opportunities to trust your instincts. It's very, the way animals operate. They smell something and then they're drawn in that direction. Or you get an idea and it's like, or you just start doing something new that you weren't doing before. Now, if it's bringing up something from the past and it needs to be healed, then there's nothing wrong with that. We take notes, remember life is for us, and we're trying to heal constantly. And we all have flaws and little faults, and there's no reason to judge ourselves harshly unless we're going to project all that outward onto other people. Then it's going to keep coming back at us until we heal it within, whatever it is. But so we also have, with this trine to the moon for the day, we have this ability to, because notice this is a north node trining the moon, and the sun is going in that direction. It's not exact yet, but the trine to the north node has been happening throughout the whole weekend, prior to. Like, if you're watching this video on Friday or Saturday, right now we are having the moon trine the north node. So there's illumination and the light of divine order to show you the way that is right for you. But I'll never be able to say what that is. It comes deep from within, and only you have those answers, right? In readings, I can always kind of get someone in the area, but they have the words and the answers, and I'm just a witness to whatever can come through. I never would never tell someone who they are. I'll tell them about their divine rays, and I'll tell them about their gifts and possible past lives, but I would never, it's never enough is the thing, is I can never find enough words to, and I wouldn't even try to define someone like that, because it puts limitations. So if we can just stand in the light of our love and be in awe of the mystery, especially today and throughout this whole weekend, coming up, it's a gateway opening up to be okay with the mystery. I mean, if we knew, sometimes Virgo wants to control every little thing in life. But if we knew everything that was going to happen, we would be so bored, right? So this is where the mystery of life and Neptune and Saturn in Pisces are doing doing their jobs of holding that space for us. So source energy here with Neptune squaring Venus, that is building up all week long. And so Venus brings in personal love. Neptune is impersonal love, where we could just say that God just is, or the universe just is. And when I say, when I use the word God, I am not in any way, shape, or form attaching it to any religion. I feel that it's creative. So I could just say the creative force, the creative source, right here is Neptune. And in Pisces, there is just open. There's no focus. It's like you have to choose, right? And it does involve all forms of spirituality and people being very compassionate and caring and empathic. It's what we would devote ourselves to. And with Venus in Gemini, there are all these new ways of, and then especially because Venus has this sextile going on over here to Eris, and this is in full force here to Eris until Thursday. But what's going on is this ability, actually it's more, I would say, well, no, it is the ability. Mars is the motivation, but Venus is the ability to just be okay with all these details. But we are challenged to just let go of them. Like if you're taking them to bed with you, you're not going to fall asleep, right? We have to let go of the details. And that's why it's always good to, send yourself little emails of stuff you need to do the next day, and then you can just let it go. Or take little notes on a pad by your bedstand or whatever, on your bedstand, and then just let it go. So capturing the details is very much what Virgo is all about. And hopefully it's to get you into that place where you're very, very open as to what new form and structure you can create in your life over the next couple of years. So, and beyond, of course. And Pluto's up there, holding space for, here you've got all this well of wisdom and experience from the past. What do you want to do with it for the future? And Jupiter's right there going, come on, we can go a little further if you want. You might have more endurance than you thought. You might dare a little more. You might be a little bit braver. We can create win-win situations, but we really have to assert ourselves and move forward, right? And then, of course, Chiron's been here, and it's squaring. So Chiron in Aries has been, that need to let go of abandonment issues and, pushing our energy towards people and glomming onto them as if, there's a have to. Like if there's a demand, if we have any kind of a demand coming out of us towards someone else, usually those energy forces are magnetically pushing us apart, right? Because what we love will stay with us, and even if it goes away for a while, it can come back. There's, we all go through different phases in our lives, and that doesn't mean that we're, just because we're not connecting like we used to, doesn't mean that we can't in the future. So just stick on the path, stay on your path with loving yourself, and let everyone else love themselves and do whatever they're doing. And as long as they're not trying to manipulate and control, then there's no reason to have a harsh boundary there. So, but if they are, then definitely you have to set that boundary. And that is another thing with Saturn in Pisces, setting boundaries around letting anyone victimize you. That needs to be stopped. And also, we have to be careful. What Pisces energy can bring in cults and drug addiction and any kind of addiction, right? and victimization most of all. And that happens when someone's blaming you or you're blaming them. And that happens when we're blaming someone else for our reality. Unless they've stepped in for a moment in order to help you stand up for yourself and say no, or teach them who you are, then those are valid, very valid opportunities. And definitely with this sextile here and trine here, this aspect of the architect, which is in full force until May 23rd, and is soon to involve, Mercury will get involved also this week. So we'll be seeing that. But anyway, just know that all of that spells out opportunities to move forward and create new structure in your life and let go of the past. If I give voice to all of that, right? The flow to let go of the past. Now, when it comes to Scorpio, it can be to let go of resentment. And when you do, it frees up your so much of your life force where you were putting attention on the wrong spot. But what I was starting to say is whenever we're blaming someone else, we're giving them our power, right? I mean, like I said, if it's about teaching them a lesson to either respect you or not hurt you anymore, that's totally different. That would be a no coming from the love inside of you that loves yourself. But when it comes to staying in those victim, persecutor, betrayal, all of that, those cycles of abuse, you have to stop and step out of that, and then there is such a long process of letting go of resentment, right? That's just the way it works. So let yourself step through it however you need to, but that's where we're headed. We're headed out of resentment and towards safety and security. But Scorpio will help us remember the past, and so will, Mars in Cancer as well. And especially with Mars squaring Chiron, this will be all the way through the week. We have this tension field going on where we're remembering the past and we're wanting to move forward, and the task is to let go of the past and just move on. Think of, well, yeah, if you bring in Scorpio with it. Yeah, shoot, Taurus, Scorpio, and Aries. Because I just had this weird image in my head of a sperm trying to meet the egg. When it hits the egg, it's not looking for his tail. He's gonna lose his tail, and he knows it, and he doesn't care. He's going for the egg, right? Because that's that's creation. That's how the little spermie is hardwired, right? So, okay, what else? Let's see. We've got Venus sextiling Eris there. So there's more courage. So Venus here to that sextile of Eris, there's more courage to learn even more about how to empower ourselves in a way that leaves us less vulnerable, but comes more from our instincts to go on our path individually. And Mars is in this nice sextile here to Uranus, but only through to Wednesday. So Mars motivates us to grow, motivates us to be more sensitive and tune into our psychic abilities and intuition. Mars in Cancer helps us to feel into what it is that we need to do. It will help us heal where we think that we need other people's permission in order to move forward. With Uranus and Taurus, there's something new that's wanting to break through. And look at this exact within minutes. I didn't get the exact time because I wanted to focus on this. But with Uranus at 18 degrees, 23 minutes, Mars is at 18 degrees, 36 minutes. it will move forward, but at least we have it through to Wednesday. So let's make a few good days of moving forward, trusting the aha moments that come in, because we have the connection still of Mercury to Mars. I'm sorry, Mercury to Uranus, has been bringing in the divine mind, and then Mars in Cancer because they're both, Mars in Cancer is very directionally focused, cardinal energy. Once it's energy that moves, and Mars moves energy. So we're moving intuitively in a way that can honor the guidance that has come through in meditation and dream time, and just those aha moments when you didn't plan on getting that, you didn't even ask the question, but something came in, so you can take it and run with it. And then I didn't highlight this one in here, but notice that the Sun has been, it's kind of a waning opposition, because notice that South Node there is at 4, but the Sun at 9 is still in an opposition to the South Node. So there's still some spotlight energy coming in, revealing something from the past. And I'm thinking Trump and some of these other people, we're going to see it. I mean, we know what it is already. It's just the public's going to see it. Now, I went nuts with the moon over here for Pluto retrograde, because I kept feeling that it really, oh, now I'm having chills. So it really, the focus of the moon is really influencing this, this point where Pluto is stopping and going, oh, okay, we're going to revisit something. Now, I don't think it's going to be anything harsh. I feel like it's pretty gentle. And because, when any planet goes retrograde, it just takes us more inward. So everything that I said about Pluto before, and especially in the T-square, is in the mix here strongly. Because, I mean, why else would we have this for so long, this square to the nodes? And now, the powerful planet that helps us get in touch with how we can use our power, our life force within, to make the most difference in our lives and in as to what we want to experience. The question would be, what is it that we want to experience moving forward? And these are long-term plans that we can make. And you can see again that triple square coming in. Jupiter and the North Node are involved, and then of course Eris is there. And with this quincunx to the Moon, there's what's on the table today. So it doesn't start retrograde until October 9th. And if you're listening while you're putzing around the house or driving or whatever, this is Monday, May 1st, 2023, of course. And it's going to stay retrograde, or be within the retrogradation period until October 10th, and it'll go all the way back to 27. It's at 0 degrees Aquarius, and it'll go all the way back to 27, almost 28 degrees Capricorn, or 28, almost 27. Yeah. So. Well, it will be 2753 actually when it gets all the way back to Capricorn, and then it'll go direct from there. But for this year, I'm not going to focus on 2024 yet. But it's going to go back and forth a little bit, throughout this next year, year and a half actually. So it's a good time to get in touch with what you're trying to bring through, and like I said, apply your courage. Feel the fear and do it anyway. If you have a fear of speaking up, if you have a fear of putting yourself out there in a new way, just try it. Just try it. Your friends and loved ones will tell you, hey, that was pretty good, but now try this. Or if you have a YouTube channel, no, I'm never one for constructive criticism. I feel like that's not the way to go, but loving guidance, or maybe you haven't thought of this, or I tried this and it worked out this way, but maybe you can do it differently, like that kind of thing. Or maybe it's something just simple, like you need your volume up, or the lighting isn't the best, and just little things that you can change along the way. I have absolutely adored the people who have helped me out that way to tell me, the light's off a little bit, or it's changing. Now, sometimes with my camera, I don't have any control over that. But I went and bought some new lights and it helped. And it's good. It's good to get advice like that. So I call that support. So you can set the intention to, break through some fears. If it's what you want, I promise you, if you go towards the wanting, you will let go of the fear. That's how it works, right? Like, again, remember that sperm that wants to get in the egg? It's not thinking about his tail. Yeah. So, okay. So the focus here with Pluto retrograde has to do with a lot of adjustment needing to let go of the moon that can sometimes go into fear, especially fear and anxiety. Now, anxiety can be just coming from the past. It can be PTSD, or it can be just the fear of the fear. And then you're in this vicious circle of fear and it's going, right? But if you can just stop and take a big deep breath, and this is especially true because remember, the moon's headed towards the south node and that full moon in Scorpio, we are going to be breathing through this tension field that we're in. The tension field's up here with Pluto. The tension field is building with the full moon. Remember, we're releasing something. So what is it that we're trying to let go of? Or what is it that we're moving towards? I mean, of course, it's springtime, or for my dear friend Libby from Meister's Tarot, she's in Australia. She lives in the future. And Ellie Dreams, she lives in the future. All of our Australian friends live in the future. And they're going to be experiencing fall. So they're already naturally in that letting go period, because that is definitely what the fall is, what autumn is. So there is some attention that can happen with the opposition to Neptune here. So Pluto's there going retrograde, stationing retrograde, holding space for balancing out this polarity, this tension field of the north and south nodes. And then Jupiter that wants to go forward, like I was saying, and wants to heal, and wants to invest in things in a new way. So maybe the new way for you is something like making your life more simple, and you're letting go of a lot of things from the past, and like recycling and stuff like that, or just doing things differently so that your life is more simple. And it can be all of those things, or both of those things, and many more that I can't even think of. But with the moon here, we have so many aspects coming off of it. We have 2 trines. So the moon, now it wouldn't involve Mercury, because it's retrograde going the other way, but it definitely involves Uranus. So again, these aha moments and getting the details. And if you focus in on the details and what you want, and you just go for it, again, letting go of the fear. And Venus sextile Eris here, and Jupiter, that we have coming through until Thursday. So we still have a few more days there. The moon will quickly move. But for today, for Monday, if we focus on, again, what we want and how we get there, and we align, the beautiful thing about Aquarian energy is it connects us with our friends It connects us with the like mind of, our kindred spirits, people that like the same things we do, right? And some new original things can come through. We can have some new ideas. Aquarius rules astrology, it rules science, it rules technology, the internet, all types of things. And then with Cancer, we've got this opportunity for just some natural growth from the direction we've been going. And, heading up, because we've been, right, with Mars has been, I remember when Mars was up here in Capricorn along with Pluto, and, it's gone all the way over here. So, yeah. Now, and when Mars makes it, to Leo, we'll have that opposition from Mars to Pluto. So it can be little bits and bursts of movement and power, or movement to get you in your power, is what's heading up in the future. But for now, with Mars in Cancer, really the focus really is on healing the past, taking care of your home, taking care of your space, creating the emotional foundation, the protection for the future. And, it's like Girl Scout, Boy Scout energy, being prepared, right? Let's see, what else? I'm going to talk about Venus squaring Neptune later, but you can see that that's in the mix there. So I think I'll go ahead and move forward. The aspect of the architect is still there again, remember, from before, which lasts until May 23rd. But so everything that I'm speaking to really does make a difference, because this is when Pluto retrograde, stations, retrograde, in a way that's going to bring some power into all of these things I've been talking about. And another important piece here with the quincunx from the moon over here to Eris is that, remember, she's our courage to fight for what we want, to fight to get what we want, so that we can receive what we've been wanting. And there's adjustments. There's going to be an adjustment made today. I can't say when, but we're all going to go through adjustments in probably when it comes to, okay. So on the highest levels, it can be an adjustment to let go of needing to be perfect. And on the lower levels, it can be an intense fight to let go of some, but it's not lower. I shouldn't say that, because it's not lower. But, okay. Adjustments, let me just say it this way. There'll be adjustments to letting go of anxiety and fear, and there'll be adjustments to let go of needing to be perfect. There could be some very useful guidance that comes through to help you get healthier. And if you go for creating divine order, so divine order to me is that things just work because they're set up from the get-go to work the right way. That doesn't mean we don't go through a lot of testing, the nuts and bolts and testing things out. It's like back to R&D half the time, right? So whatever you're doing to make those adjustments, or the adjustments, the awareness of the need for adjustments will come up today. But it could play out through this entire Mercury, retrogradation cycle, because, these are the aspects that could play out the whole time. That's just how it works in astrology. Okay, so then, or when we have a big event like that in astrology. So then Tuesday, I set the chart for 3 a.m. so that we could get the clue in here as to aspects to the moon. So now I do want to talk a little bit about Neptune trining Mars. This lasts until May 25th. So this nice trine, you can see Mars at 19. When it gets to the 26 degrees in there, that'll be the exact. but it'll still be in effect even when it's on the other side. So now we're building from now until, so May 2nd to somewhere around, I'm going to guess about the 14th, we're building up to that exact, and then it'll be the waning movement away from it. So we're growing something new connected to our guidance, connected to our spirituality, our spiritual path, connected to source energy. This is really, really good for building a home, building a new foundation, designing things. It has really good energy for, or it is great energy for any type of music, art. And you guys know I don't judge art. To me, it's like cooking dinner can be art, right? The way you clean your house can be an art. So, yeah, even the way you do laundry. You know what? I'm going to tell you something, a little self revelation here. Probably shouldn't be so revealing, but I had this hamper for a long time that I never used. I had it for a guest bedroom in where I used to live, and I don't have that anymore. So I've had it in my bedroom, not knowing what to do with it, because I don't put my dirty clothes in there. I tend to just, I have a basket in my little laundry area, and I use that and the washing machine itself. I throw them in there and wait till it gets full, you know, depending on whether it's towels or clothes or whatever. So anyway, long story short, I've had this clean hamper, and I decided one day, I don't know, about a month or so ago, it's like, I do not like all, because it's just me. I don't have anybody else here that cares if the towels are folded or if, you know, and so I started thinking back, what does my Capricorn sun do? He used to only buy either one certain kind of white sock or the dress socks. And the white socks all went in one drawer, and he didn't fold them together, because why would anybody waste time of that? And his underwear he wore boxers, so his hangers went in one drawer. No, didn't fold those either. He'd kind of just lay them out, but he wouldn't fold them. And dress socks went in another drawer. Those he would fold together because they weren't all the same, right? So I thought, why should I fold all these friggin' towels? So I have these, you know, dividers in the hamper. So I have the small towels for my hair and the big towels. And I don't fold them. They're clean, but I just drop them in there. Because when I go to get in the shower, I just grab the towels and throw them over, you know, the thing, and then that's it. So, that's one way I'm simplifying my life. So there might be adjustments like that you make around the home so that you have more time, because I would rather meditate, or I would rather watch a movie, or I would rather hang out with you guys on YouTube, you know, comments back and forth, rather than folding the damn towels, right? I'd rather vacuum than fold the towels. I'd rather deal with so many other things than fold towels. Now, other people might like folding towels. Like, I have a dear friend who loves to vacuum, and her husband loves to do laundry, so they have split those chores up in a beautiful way. But like I said, for me, it's just me here doing it all. Anyway, so things like that. You know, there might be something that comes through to give you guidance as to create more balance in your life, and you make an adjustment that serves your future. Because remember, the North Node is the future, right? And I want more bliss and experience of happiness in my future, and to me, folding towels does not. So there's a simple, just a simple example of how I'm doing it here. Now, for Tuesday morning with the moon, and you can see it was a building trine here. We've got a nice flow of energy to bring in more power into your life, right? And it's also with the opposition to Neptune. There might be I just heard the word teaching. There's something that your spirit, your higher self, can teach you to help balance out your life, because balance is key, right? Balance is everything. So that's mostly what's on the table for the day. And then Mars in Cancer can give you the gumption to get it going on your path, because there's wanting. Maybe it is about meditation, right? And there's that wanting to sit down and be with your higher self. And then you're realizing this is a real need in my life, right? Because until you have that solid foundation of your higher self guiding you, your life is not going to be fun. It just won't. You're going to be in so much struggle, because that's just the way it is. All of life is meant to get us to that place to where we remember who we are in spirit. That is what life on earth is all about. So, everything else I have spoken to. Yeah, Uranus, trine Mars, and I've got that. Or, I'm sorry, sextiling Mars. Yeah, the sextile from the Sun to Mars is out of orb. These other sextiles I've already spoken to Venus. So, yeah, and the other aspects are the same. So let's go ahead and move on. So Wednesday, the moon's still in Libra, of course, but we have an opposition, a building opposition. It's just about an exact opposition coming up to Chiron, but it's building to also oppose Eris and Jupiter. So the first clue here with the moon to Chiron will teach us as to what the opposition will be like with Eris to Jupiter. So it has to do with relationships that matter to you and that you matter to them. It has to do with honoring your uniqueness and your individuality that says, I want this and I'm going towards that, or, it's not really this or that, it's this and that. It's everything. So what are all the things that you need to do to put yourself first in your life, but without pushing others away that are important to you, right? Because Libra is so much about relationships. And there's a little bit of tension to Mars there, so be careful. This could be a little bit of and this is a building square, right? 14 to 20. So there's a little bit of a warning here about not pushing away relationships just to fight. There are certain amount of people, and I have no idea what the percentage is, but I just know them from my experience in the past, where they have a lot of life force attached to fighting and conflict, and they don't mind that because it's something they were so used to. It's a familiar pattern from childhood, and it's how they survived. And so I never want to think harshly of them, but to be in relationships with people like that, it's very tiring, right? Because you're constantly either biting your tongue or setting a boundary, or trying to get away from them and they're coming at you. Or maybe they're running away from you and you have to figure out why they're not with you. Right? There's that kind of thing, if you want them with you. So there's the opportunity here to get out of any self-sabotage in relationships with this pattern here. And the adjustment would come to Mercury that is retrograde and has been holding space there in the realms of communication. So, and Mercury is moving, of course, even more so towards that north node, and so it can be a leading edge in your life to figure out if you're sabotaging relationships. So if you've lost a relationship in the past, this would be a good time to figure out why, and it might not be lost for good either, right? And then, again, with Mars is still trining Neptune, there's lots of spiritual support to help you. And, yeah. So, again, balance is key. So, with the moon in Libra, it's the back and forth, it's the flow. And as long as we're not coming from our wounding, we're coming from our gifts. Now, the gifts with Chiron and Aries is presence, is the ability to assert yourself. And maybe you're coming from a place of spontaneous, real love, and it's like, I just need to call you and tell you I love you, or I'm just texting to say I was thinking about you. Just wanted to remind you I love you, or tell them exactly what you love about them, or you like about them. Or maybe it's just inviting a conversation because, Mercury is involved. So that, there's that. This could turn out very, very well, especially with all the other great aspects. Okay, so now Thursday comes along, and we're really in this build up to the Scorpio partial full moon eclipse, partial eclipse, but definitely the full moon. And you can see that here because the moon is getting ready to hook up to the south node, so there's really a force in motion here to let go of the past. And if we can let go of the past, it can push us into the future that we really want to build in a big, bold new way. And Mercury retrograde can give us, you could have one of these experiences of loving Mercury retrograde, because we're in that realm of, because the moon is going to aspect all of this stellium here at this late degree, Aries into mid through Taurus. So Aries can be that leading edge, moving you into something new, and Taurus can be that fertile planting ground that takes hold of the seed. And by the time the moon moves to this full moon, what can happen is that you just let go of something and go deeply into what you really, really want, because now you know what it is. You have a felt sense for what you want. There's no more mystery about it. Now, if there is some mystery, it would be coming off of Neptune here, from the moon to, there could be an adjustment that comes through as to what you're going to be letting go of today, Thursday, 5 a.m. So all day long, be very, all the way up through the full moon and beyond the full moon, be very cognizant about what it is that you need to let go so that you can move forward, right? Because we all need to do that with something in our lives, and maybe there's a few somethings. And then Friday comes along, and we do have the partial, penumbral is just another name for, it's an astrological name for partial lunar eclipse. Now, when we have a full moon, it's always an exact opposition. You can see the moon's at 14 degrees, almost 15 degrees Scorpio, and the sun is as well. And this happens 10:34 in the morning on Friday, May 5th. Pluto is in that T-square, but there's 3 squares, and they've shifted a little bit. We have Eris, Eris and Jupiter, so there is that, courage to go where you want to go, and the North Node there, of course, is opposing the South Node. So the South Node is holding space for the wisdom of the past to come through and the courage to go forward in a big, bolder way, much, much bigger way than you ever have before. And then with the lunar, with Pluto in this mix, we have the adjustment to Venus. So Venus is wanting to learn more. It's at this 27 degrees. It's at almost, well, it's pretty much 28. So one more degree, and then Venus is in Cancer, and there'll be some cooking up together there. So Venus wants to unify something in your life, and you're wanting to unify. You're going to make a powerful adjustment because now you know something in a bigger way that you didn't know before. You've learned something, and you like what that is, how that feels. I mean, who doesn't want to learn new things, right? So we also have an adjustment here coming off of the full moon to Chiron. So I feel like, again, this full moon is about releasing resentments. It's about releasing the need to control. It's about releasing the need for intense experiences in order to feel alive. We had the moon in Libra giving us a clue as to how about we just, remain peaceful. And it's not going to be long. It's just going to be another 10 days or so before Mercury goes direct. And then Mercury's going to hook back up with Uranus. So this right here. So we have a spotlight coming in of what's to come in the future. But we're needing to let go of some things in the past in order to move forward. That's just the way it usually works. The reason that it's not the way it usually works, it's the way it always works. And the reason why it is that way is because if we don't let go of the thing we're holding on to, it keeps the past locked in. And we're stuck in duality because we're stuck in this or that. Just think of like if I have to stay safe all the time, if I can't be intimate, if I can't have intimate conversations, or if I have to fight with everyone, or if I have to stay in this crisis point, if I have such a dark, deep fear of betrayal, then I can't move forward. If you're holding on to that, something's going to come to break that open in your life, because that's, life is meant to be lived in a transformative way. So if you get okay with letting go all the time, that's what Scorpio is really about. It's about digging deep. Now, it's good for research. It's good for getting to the truth. And then from there, that transformation path is something that you really love. And if you're deepening your spiritual practice, and if you're headed towards learning whatever it is that you need to release from inside, and what you need to hold on to, right? The polarity of Taurus and Scorpio is releasing what doesn't work. Just like pulling weeds out of the garden. If you want those flowers to grow, Taurus energy, grow, and bring in beauty, which is Taurus energy, you have to let go of, you have to eliminate what isn't, working, basically. So, yeah. But then, some things you want there for protection, and that is another one of the beautiful points in with Scorpio. There can be a layer that's there for protection, and Mars in Cancer can teach us that as well. And we can see that we have this double trine coming from Mars, Neptune, and then up to the moon. So the full moon can help us release, but also hold on to what is needed in order to protect ourselves. Just think of like a baby. There are things we have to do to protect to protect anything that's vulnerable, and that's a beautiful thing. So, yeah. Okay. So what else? Let's see. Mars squaring. Yeah, that's right. So. Yeah, Mars squaring Chiron, Eris, and Jupiter. Again, if we're headed in the direction of our gifts, we're going to be doing just fine. Eris will bring in the courage. I think it's everything that I've been speaking to, giving voice to for the entire week. But I'm feeling with Mars in this, moving towards that, that last third of Cancer, the last 10 degrees of Cancer there. There's only basically about eight more minutes left, or I'm sorry, 8 more degrees left. And Mars does move pretty quickly. Not as fast as Mercury, though, but Mercury's retrograde, so there's that. But anyway, I feel like there's something about the discovery has happened for a lot of us, and what we need to release, we know, and we can do that. And because of this sextile and trine down to Mars here. My goodness, and then the double trine here. I feel like there's the flow, the opportunity and the flow to go in the direction, and the courage is there because the wanting is there. So there's a release, and then an integration is going to happen. And the integration will be more power for you in your life, more deep, that deep well of wisdom in your your experience of life, your wisdom coming through. And this sextile here, see, from Pluto to Neptune, this brings in more power on your spiritual path, and then the courage and the impetus to go in that direction. And the full moon is bringing all that in. This lunar eclipse is bringing all that in. So this aspect of the architect right here, well, first of all, Neptune, I have my little notes down here, Neptune sextile Pluto right here lasts until October 21st. And then Neptune trine down here to Mars only lasts until June 12th. So for sure, so the first things on the table is to make sure that you're going so that you're on your path, on your spiritual path. And then everything will fall into place in your life if you're on your path. And I can't say what that is because it's very individual, and it's very time sensitive for each one of us, right? And is very unique for each one of us. And then June 12th, Neptune will retrograde, and so we're going to, have quite some more time with Neptune in Pisces, which is very, very wonderful. Yeah. Okay, so that feels complete with the lunar eclipse. And then Saturday, so for the end of the week, again, we have this, aspect of the architect from Venus to the south node, and then up to you can see Jupiter's involved, but north node, because Jupiter's going this way, and the north node's going that way, so they're coming together. But until May 14th, we have this aspect of the architect very strongly. So again, what is it that you're wanting to build? Now that you know what you know, because you've learned a lot, and you've had your connection to the past experience to guide you, because hindsight really is more than 20/20, I would say. Right? Like if you knew what was going to happen, you would have done it differently, kind of, but we just do the best that we can with what we have at the time. And Venus will help to unify something in the future based on that experience from the past. And that's really beautiful. It could be a way that you communicate. It could be a way that you think. All things Gemini. So we're questioning the past, and we're learning from the past, and we're trying to get out of duality. And we have a much more, a younger frame of mind is what I'm hearing with this. Coming from innocence and the willing to try again in a whole new way. That's beautiful. And then with Jupiter here, you can see how Jupiter has this opposition to the south node. So Jupiter's bringing in and coming towards that north node, right? So this is on the forefront going into next week. But this opposition to Jupiter only lasts until June 22nd, so we really want to make the best use of this time. I just keep hearing again, you guys, just feel the fear and do it anyway. It's going to be rough. It's going to be bumpy at first. You might not even recognize if you're using your voice. You might not even recognize your own voice. And it might be that it doesn't have anything to do with words and voice, or actually it could be words, you could be writing, but it could be about the experience that you want to have. It could be going forward in a whole new way, or it could be building upon something from the past. Again, I can't say what it is for you. But for this day, it's really important to notice that we have this grand water trine with the moon in Scorpio, 24 degrees Scorpio. And it started, I clocked it at 4 a.m. here so that we could get the two quincunxes in case you get up really early in the morning. And but with the moon in Scorpio there's a need for an adjustment. There's an emotional need, there's a feeling need for an adjustment to move forward. So if we haven't let go of what we need to let go, maybe you have some dream guidance that comes through because of this grand water trine here. Because Mars in Cancer is trying to put you in the direction that you want to be. The moon in Scorpio is doing its best to help illuminate whatever you've needed to let go of. And the adjustment, if you can make that adjustment, can put you in the direction that you want to go with Jupiter there, headed towards the North Node, and with the courage of Eris to guide us, right? So if you weren't afraid of it, what would you do? And if it's just an exploration of what the fears are, well, I think we kind of had that going on last week. But if there's more to explore it. It's never less than useful. It's all going to be exploring our fears, as long as we don't get stuck in them, is always going to be good work. And let's see. So the other important things right off the bat this morning is Uranus opposing the moon. So again, those aha moments, and like I was saying, you could wake up in the morning with some beautiful dream guidance, and then a big breakthrough that happens as well, because the moon has been opposing Uranus all throughout the night. If you wake up with a really fantastic message, or it might not even be a good message, it might be clearing. So here's the thing in dreams that most people don't realize, that unless it's a repetitive dream that keeps happening and happening, most of the times our dreams are just clearing out the cobwebs of the past. So if it was something that you might not like that comes through in a dream, it's very possible that it doesn't mean anything other than you're clearing it out of your subconscious. So that's actually really wonderful, especially if it's a fear. And I didn't highlight it but Pluto is in this inconjunct to Venus, and I'm sure that this will last into, well, I don't know, Venus moves pretty quickly, and this is really only a 1 to 3 degree orb going on here, but I have a feeling it'll be there next. I don't have my phone here where I can grab the app and see, but I'm thinking that this would be all weekend. There's an adjustment to friendship and communication and what you're wanting to learn and research that's really going to help you in your power, empower you into the future. So with that, I think I'm done. As far as the aspects to the moon, I've covered that, and that was pretty much for the day. Uranus to the moon there, yeah, that's been happening. Mercury and the North Node cooking up together. Yeah, there's the communication is there. And if we're not getting it now to guide us on our path, we're going to get it. We're going to have an opportunity again when Mercury goes direct and catches back up to Uranus this way. Right? It's really cool, actually, when you think about it, because Mercury is moving towards the North Node. Mercury's the messenger that will help you to link up a pattern inside, or it can give you, it can help you rationally even figure out something. It could be a big breakthrough that helps with a project. But it can also be great for writing a book. It can be really wonderful for communicating anything you're trying to communicate, any creative self-expression. Mercury also connects to our siblings. So with the opposition, because it's hooking up with the North Node, it's going to also oppose the South Node. So things from the past are going to come up. This is not going to bode well for these dirty politicians and other, you know, like let's say Clarence Thomas and these other guys on the bench, you know, Scrotus with the stench on the bench, basically, right? It's not going to go well for the dark ones. So we're going to be seeing that. We're going to be witnessing that. Things will be illuminated here in a very shocking way coming up over the next few days. I think I'm leading you into the next week, so I'll just close it off here because I know I'll be back before even the next weekend comes up. But it's going to be good for us and anyone working in their light, working on their path. And we're going to see the differences between what it's like to work in the love, in the light of love, light and love, truth, it's all the same thing. And not, right? Yeah. Okay, so other than that, other than that, I'm just going to say I'm done. And the only other thing is big hugs, as always. Okay, bye, you guys. Take good care.